Hell fucking low. We're back with the unicorn again. Let's go. Let's fucking go. We have to do a lot more trash gluing. I think I'm gonna try and talk about more about the trash itself. Don't like the placement where some trash just extrudes too far from the body, and that makes your figures like really bulky. So you have to be careful where you place the bigger guts. This is like a pen rod that's covered in a bit of hot glue for unknown reasons. I try to cut it with these scissors, but for some reason it was like really fucking angry at me. So we went to the big guns, and these boys don't fail me. So yeah, there we go. I thought it looked like kind of like a pipe or an exhaust. I tried to tear some of the hot glue off, but you know what? Maybe in the end, it's just all about the imperfections. So I'm gonna glue it to the back of the leg to give it like this kind of exhaust pipe look. And I think I will definitely be using some like chains and such. This is like an old jewelry train. I kind of get a lot of jewelry from my mother or relatives or just anyone or thrifting. Stuff that I don't feel like I'll wear, I normally turn into art. So I don't really wear a lot of gold. I tend to wear silver or really dark metals. I do wear gold occasionally, but this is just kind of too delicate and thin for me. I like to wear chunky jewelry. So I was like, why not? I'll use it here and it'll have a new life. I'm actually quite nervous about painting this sort of thing. I've never painted something with so many moving parts still, so I'm a little nervous about that. That's not great. To cut chains, I just really you gotta hold it at the very edge of what you want, and then you find the link, and then you cut right before that link of chain that you want. It's pretty good, and I think it makes your cuts very clean when you're cutting chain. And it's quite easy to measure if you have like a decent like, if you could just like I don't like numbers, I don't like rulers, I don't use actual measurement tools. I basically just eyeball things and like put things next to other things for scale's sake. So that's essentially what I do here. I like line it up, I grab the last link that looks to be in the right length, and then I cover it up. Then we just gotta add some like figure out how to do this. I was gonna attach it to the sides at first, but then I was like, maybe I'll glue it to the top and the bottom, which I did, and then we glued it onto the horse. These are like some hairpins. I don't know. They don't really fit here. I kind of give up on them in a minute, but they also broke super easily later on. Back to this like bit of an earring. I used the one larger part of it to go on that shoulder part, but maybe I'll use this smaller thing. This is like one of those wraps around your bread bag. It's very moldable and nice, which I do love. I wish I had more of this because it has some good like rim to it. It's very nice. So I thought I'll roll it around the leg and that'll give us more paneling look. Very fun. I do like this material. I don't get a lot of it though, because the bread bag never really has a lot. And the cool thing about this is you can kind of squish it onto your whatever shape you want, and it will like kind of mold to it, which is very fun, and I like that a lot. And then I was like, what else can I do to this? I have a shit ton of buttons and beads and shit, but it's kind of difficult to use, depending on size and such. I think they're great for adding like little extremities, little buttons and switches and knobs and such. I contemplated using this chain thing that I tore off of a basket I got from thrifting, but it was kind of not, it wasn't feeling right, so I just went back to the other gold chain. I wanted variety, and then I told myself, variety can suck it. And I'm like, we're gonna measure this out, and it'll be all great. It'll be great. Great. Awesome. I honestly really enjoy this sort of project making with this trash art. However, at this point in the project, I was kind of thinking I maybe had bit off more than I could chew, and also watch me struggle with this fucking thing for like 5 hours. Um, it's like, it is a lot more space to cover with trash than I had imagined. Like, once I finished that first, like, kind of leg section, I was, like, really shocked at how long that took me. And, like, it was a full video. That was a full video. I mean, obviously, there was the putting together of the actual horse itself, but it was interesting to me how difficult this could get. This is a different type of chain, again, from old jewelry, but it's, like, one of those more, like, linked necklacey. I don't really know how to describe this type of chain. I should probably figure that out, because I like it. It's very thick and kind of it's just a different texture and adds another kind of shape to the thing, and I can alternate it with the skinnier, more typical linked chains. And I kind of cut it in a very similar way. However, it does end up having like these closed off ends that are very awkward to work with, but it's fine as long as I kind of cover them or like shove them in a corner in a crevice. I love working with things that have legs and so many legs. Yeah. Hot glue has never bothered me. I can't be hurt by it anymore. I am immune. Fuck my fat ass fingers. Anyway, yeah, so you kind of just gotta mold shit in place and it'll eventually go. That's kind of my whole thing with everything I do with this sort of type of art, with this trash and just amalgamation of bits and bobs. It is not a process that I have plans for. It is a process of finding pieces and picking them up and putting them somewhere. And I actually don't like to search through my trash too much. I kind of just grab a handful and then I'm like, I should use all of it. I thought I'd layer up on this pipe, but like go like half pipe. It would be cool. And what I mean by like not searching, I have a bin full of trash, right? And I don't really dig through that bin to find pieces that work. I kind of just grab and decide, yep, we're going to use all of this, and I'm not going to complain about it, and I'm going to find a use. And oh my god, this thing freaking killed me. I cannot believe how long it took me to cut that stupid little plastic tube. I was so mad. Yeah, yeah, I was a little pissed. Because it's not the type of material that I expect to be hard to cut. So whenever things defy my expectations, I get a little miffy. Anyway, but then I take that hot glue again and I glue on that new bit. Collection of hot glue spiders just grows every day. My floor is covered with hot glue spiders. I like actual spiders. I feel like that's almost obvious with my fucking unicorn spider over here, but I don't like the hot glue spiders. They piss me off. This is the little cap of a like paint tube that I cut a bunch of the bottom off to make it shorter because again, when it extrudes too far, oh, look away Lego lovers, I'm gonna cut your Lego. Yeah, cut in your Lego bits. Sorry. I do this a lot, actually. I have a lot of old Lego. I used to play with Lego a lot as a kid, and I mutilate it now for sport. Sorry, but not sorry, because it makes really fun art pieces. It has lots of cool studs and such. Oh, I hit the phone. I forgot I did that. We're fine. We're fine. And I'm conveniently out of frame. Woo. I didn't fix shit, you squiggly bitch. Oh yeah, sure, you're fine. You're not a terrible YouTuber or whatever. Anyway, these are some more scrap pieces from the top of a sewing kit, like canister holder thing. I used a lot of them in the last video to build that first leg up. But now I'm kind of trimming them off and using them in a couple sections here. I don't use them to cover this entire leg. I don't like doing repetitive like things of just copying over design. But I wanted to use them to some degree because obviously I gotta use up that trash, man. That's a bit of a Lego stud on that button. Yep. Get kicked. Get kicked in the face with the Lego stud. And then I also added this bead and earring back. It was quite cool. Then I added this little stud and I put 2 halves of a pop tab cut in half in it to give it like this little knob look. And then I added this dragon toy hand that I cut in half and used a little bit of an end of a Lego broom as like a little peg stud there. And then we're kind of considering, what trash am I using next? What am I doing? What am I doing here? We don't really know. But there's a little earring back, and I thought, yeah, I should probably put that onto that Lego stud to hide trademarkable things called logos. Because for some reason, they always put their logo on the fucking stud, which is the part I want to use. Oh, spiders. Hot glue spiders, guys. Be careful. Oh, and then I did do a bunch of gluing of buttons and layer it onto the neck. That's a piece of an old bracelet, and I thought it would look good over that hand. And spoiler alert, it does. It looks nice. It adds a little bit more texture and dimension. I had like 2 of these bracelets of like these multiple cords of black leather stuff and different like lengths and thicknesses, and one is woven, and I used quite a bit of it, but I'm happy to report most of it is gone. Ignore my hands that are covered in clay. That's from a secret project that you don't know about. I used a Lego tire, like a little rubber tire, and I cut it open in half and I collided it around that foot to almost make like a horseshoe. And now I'm going to layer on some more of this like black leather from that bracelet, out of frame because I'm a good YouTuber. Yeah. And then I just cut off that excess at the end with a little bit of magic thing called Sharp Object, and it's great. Got rid of all those hot glue spiders because there's a fucking lot of them, but snip, 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 snip. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, normally I like to like try and cut it to length before, but whatever. And then I'm like, maybe I'll reglue it here. And you know what? That's exactly what I did after almost gluing the chain like 5 times. Again, hot glue spiders fucking everywhere. God, I forgot how fucking messy my hands were that day. If you think I swear too much, fucking tell me, but I won't listen to you because I like saying shit and bitch and crap and fuck. Yeah. This channel's not for kids. I mean, I mark all my videos as not for kids, but like, just to clarify, it's not for kids. I wrapped a second layer of that like same or similar material of this woven leather bracelet, and I really liked how that looked. I thought it looked very nice, and it was very clean and good. That poor unicorn, God, I keep seeing its head smack against the ground over and over and over again, and that is, it's gotta be painful. It's gotta not be very pleasant. And from then on, I was really focused on this butt. I was like, I kind of want to fix the butt. So I took this little piece, which is part of the earring, but I cut a section out so it would more readily fit to the butt. And I took out the hot glue and I was like, all right, let's fit it to the butt. And you just very delicately and totally don't with your shaky hands place this, and then I kind of let it fall to the curves. Again, I love this earring. It's like really good for sticking to these curves. Is it off center? Absolutely. Will you know? No, because I create the law here. I have a little extra glue at the end because it was not sticking. And then I was like, well, now what do I do with this like extra little bit it gave me because I had to cut it to make it smoother. I was like, that thing right there. I'm like, well, let's just cover up that nasty little end piece with that because that's how it works. And you know what? I think that turned out just fine. Adds some depth and dimensioning and some more spiders. Why are there so many spiders? Yay! I added this little thing from a nondescript game. Don't fucking mention it, and they're gonna kill me. Oh, and I added hair with some more of that leather bracelet thing. I thought it was very funny, and there were like these stud ends that I couldn't figure out what to do with. I have another bracelet, as you can see. I'm very mad. I don't. Wow, it has more hair! And there are some, and yeah, the leg is pretty covered now, and there's some along the neck. Whoa, whoa! And then you take the trash and you just chuck it at it. That's how this works actually. You don't glue trash. You just pick up a handful of shit and you chuck it at the unicorn, and then once it's got all the trash on it. See? I bent and broke that thing, that like handbag rail like gold piece. It was very hard to do actually. And I still had some shit left over, but we throw more crap at this unicorn until it's covered and everything. Here's some gemstones and another one of that nondescript game, a little stretchy choker that I cut into many, many pieces and almost made look like chainmail. And this is still from that one little hairpin because, again, they broke super easily. And, woo, there's more shit on the unicorn. Mostly some hot glue spiders, actually. I feel like nothing changed except for the hot glue fucking spiders. Just kidding, there's that whole divot on the hip now. Yeah. Cool shit. Tried to cover up the nondescript game logo on the one, but I didn't do it on the other for some reason. There's more hair on the unicorn, and we have more junk, so let's do that. I have a half a ring, buttons, and a couple different little bits and pieces here. There's that necklace thing kind of glued like chainmail. I think it'll look really good once I've painted it. And then I added more shit to that back leg. Yeah, we're doing pretty okay here. Now, honestly, the process of gluing trash to a unicorn is not that difficult. I feel like everyone can do this, by the way. I would always say start with your larger pieces. I am a person who has an insane amount of buttons available to me. So I tried to fill out space originally with those buttons, continuing to just use them.
I get frustrated with buttons because they have the little holes, and that very much gives you the idea that they're buttons. Oh, I finished up that back leg with a lot more paneling. Honestly, that leg is really pretty and well done, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but I absolutely am. And I added those little diamonds to the back of the unicorn. Those are the diamonds. They're from this little sticky sheet. Oh, we chucked them. I think we have to add more. Yep, that's down the head. And it's just a fun line. My kind of goal initially with this unicorn was to like have nothing left of the original, like everything be covered in trash. And honestly, I did kind of do that in a way. But at this point in the project, I was like, there's no way. Oh, there's half a Lego tire, but I didn't end up putting it around the horn because I'm not a dumbass. Anyway, here's what I said about the buttons. Try to glue them. They give you a lot of good initial shape, and they can be really big. And stacking them is always a nice way to get a couple more rows and libs and shit. They make good cheeks. They make good eyes. They make good haunches. Oh, I'm putting that tire around my finger. But don't worry, it's not staying there. It's going to go around the nose like a bridle. Have you ever ridden a horse? Because I have. I rode horses for like 3 fucking years, man. At a barn that I don't remember the name of. I did horseback riding lessons, and they would like rotate us on different horses, and I was on I think 7 different horses throughout my 3 years there. One of which was, we'll call him Jay, and Jay was an ass. I hated him, but everyone else loved him for some reason, thought he was a perfect little prince. I did not. I wanted off that horse so bad, but every time I said, hey, I'd like off this horse, they'd go like, what? You want off Jay? Everyone loves Jay. And I'd be like, yeah, well, he steps on my feet and he tries to rear when I put his bridle on. And he also will stop mid-trot, bend over, scratch his knee without a concern for the fact that I am teetering over his shoulders. Yeah, I didn't like him that much. And then I had a horse who was honestly so close to qualifying as a pony. If you don't know, 14 hands is like kind of the difference between horse and pony, even though that rule is not followed very strictly. I said even though way too many times in that sentence. But basically 14 hands high, lower than that pony, higher than that horse, right? This horse was pretty much a pony. We're going to call her Spellbook, and Spellbook was such a sweetheart. I loved her. She was an old lady and kind of retired except for just doing the lessons, and she loved to jump. Oh my God. She would run and break into full-on canter at jumps, and I loved her dearly. She was also the only horse I ever fell off of, but during that it was really sweet. She tried to keep me on her as best she could. She moved her neck as I started to fall. She moved it, tried to position it under me, and since she was so tiny, it was not that scary of a fall. I fell maybe a couple feet, maybe. Why did I use feet? I'm Canadian. I'm disappointed in myself. No. I rode a couple other horses, but those 2 were the standouts, and you can clearly tell which one I liked more than the other, but for some reason, I was on Jacob longer. Anyway, throughout all this, I've been placing more and more trash on this fucking unicorn. I never rode a unicorn. Wish I kinda did. Oh, in there we got a Lego broom, another one of these, buttons, some chains, another hairpin. Those hairpins, I struggled with them because they were so large, but they did make good, almost, I don't know machine parts that well, and it's kind of disappointing because this entire thing is meant to look like a weird machine, but, just drop more trash on it, and, your hoarding problems will pay off eventually. I'm trying to cover up that back leg in a kind of similar way to I did the front leg, and look at those chains, they still move. I'm a little scared of painting that, to be honest. Again, painting moving parts is scary. You see all those little teeny bits and pieces? Yeah, I glued fucking all of those down. All of those. They're there. Look at that face. That face is so cute and well detailed, but you can't fucking tell because of all the hot glue spiders. I added some more support kind of looking things, and oh yeah, the box is empty. We have to go refill that box. Yeah. We need more trash. Don't worry, I never run out of trash. That's actually physically impossible for me. But we do need to go get more. So here's the trash bin again. Or again? Maybe it's again. I don't know. If you've seen my sketchbook videos, it's again. Anyway, we're gonna dig through. Muscle through, muscle through. There's a Sanrio thing obnoxiously in your face, but I have a handful of shit. And now we put it on the ground. No feet pics. Not for free. Never for free. Oh, some candy wrappers. Those never touched food, by the way. I don't put anything that touched food in the trash bin. Oh, more shit. Oh, what's that horrific creature? Oh, that's terrifying. I had a very hard time using that thing, actually. I eventually cut its ears and tail and wings off and its nose off, but I still have the, like, the extremity-free body with me, which is, it's disturbing. Now, if you deconstruct pens, they're excellent tools for destruction. Like this thing, I'm like, what if another horn? Another horn! How many horns can a unicorn have? I don't know, but this one has, like, 6. More so 4, I think. But, you know, math was never my strong suit, and it never will be. So as the unicorn shakes its ass at you, we're gonna hop out more trash from that bin. Ooh, I love bracelets. I love when I get a bracelet. It's just the best experience. Oh, and look, a little Lego net, which I'm gonna cut up. Lego people fear me. Oh yeah, let's go. I had to, like, snip actually each individual cord of this bracelet, which was weird because it was actually, like, tied at each end. But I did eventually get there, and we put it all around. It's actually rather difficult to use these, like, completely circular beads because they don't exactly sit nicely on any given face, but if you use enough of them, it looks intentional. So that's my, why does my knowledge of the English language leave me? I don't know. But you know, those are my rules, you know? More buttons, which again, you gotta kind of use them buttons first because they are the most complicated little fuckers with the least amount of room. Loved that one down there. It really looks like a gear of some sort. I had a couple of the buttons of that type, and they also all came with, like, this place to sew it on in the back since it doesn't have regular buttonholes. And those cut off were like little handlebars, and that was great to add to several spots. We have brought the wings in finally. I was like, I'm getting sick of it. I need to put the wings on. So there's the eyeball wing, as we all know, and then we'll bring the other wing in later. First, I was like, oh, I keep spinning it. Stop spinning it. Stop it. Anyway, first I was like, well, we still have to kind of maybe sort of almost add this support looking thing, and I fiddled with this for way too long. I didn't need to, like, compare it to the wing that many times. I was just an idiot, I think. I don't know. It was something. There was something there. Not intelligent, that's for sure. Anyway, after frankly too much time spent trying to, like, decapitate the back of this thing, I was trying to smooth it out because, you know, you shouldn't use stuff that has too much of a extremity to it. Like, you want to get it as flat as possible so it lays pretty decently flat on the model or base that you have, because otherwise it bulks up really, really fast. And it already is going to bulk up fast, so you have to do your best to reduce bulk where you can. So I spent way too long fighting this thing. It was like taking little scissors and, like, chopping off bits, which is essentially what it is, but, like, shut up. Don't shut up, wait, no, come back. Anyway, I kind of gave up halfway through, but I was also determined and also not in frame. So, you know, you get to stare at the concave mess of, oh, look, there's a lion's foot on that thing. When did that get there? I can't remember. There's a lot of random feet on this unicorn, you know? There's the dragon foot, the lion foot, its own feet, hooves. There's probably not as many toes as there could be because of the hooves. If you didn't know, hooves are just toes that molded together over time. Isn't that fun? Aren't you glad you watched this video? Oh look, it's a clip. I tried to cut this thing initially. I was like, oh, I'll cut it and that'll be cool. Boom, look at transition. Whoa. But no, I just glued it to the neck. Glued it to the neck. Anyway, we have this, like, really weird bow and arrow toy I got in a thing. Oh, and this baby. It's a friendly baby, I swear. This bow and arrow toy I got from a thrift store, and I'm like, that's more hair. That is definitely more hair. It's gonna go on the hair. Yup. I lied. It's going on the butt. I'm such a liar. Just, you know. Gotta keep you on your toes, gotta be a little creative here. I put the baby in so many different places. I just cut it. Oh, there it is. It's friendly, I swear. Swear it's friendly. Yeah. I didn't speed up that clip. I was just really fast there for some reason. Interesting. So there's this gold bracelet, and it's extremely hard to cut. So most of the time, I'm just trying to bend it, but I honestly did a shitty job. I kind of cover that up later, but you know, whatever. It's a base. It's something. It has potential, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, that's this is the anatomy of an eye, proper anatomy of an eye. I just have to clarify, you know. I'm so sick of listening to myself talk. I don't do these with a script. I just kind of fucking do shit. Anyway, another snap away, and we have attached the wing finally, and it's exciting, and I'm very happy with that. Removing hot glue spiders once more, we grab more junk. What is in my hands this time? It's a carrot. Without our leaves. I stole the leaves for another. Oh, no, you can't feed the horse. It's not real. Anyway, I glued a lot of shit to the face while you weren't looking. Buttons, a E key that came off my keyboard a long time ago because I play games too aggressively. And you know what? I don't even play games that you need to play aggressively. I never play games that you need to play aggressively. I don't like shooters and I don't like competitive games. I play silly little life sims and like sandbox games, like fucking Sims 4 and Planet Zoo. But no. Even then, I'm smacking my keys hard enough for them to pop off straight off my keyboard. I like literally would just have the empty key socket and like press that with my bare finger, and it was hot as shit. But you know what? I was determined and also an idiot. So I'm still both of those things. Anyway, we're adding more details and bits and bobs to try and disguise the buttoniness of this craft, but in reality, I just keep adding buttons, and you will pretend that I've added something different. Here's a weird Lego piece. I think it's like a socket thing, but we're gonna put it on a wing. Ha, socket thing on a wing. Ha 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 ha. I like that. Silly rhyme, silly. Anyway, here's a handful of new junk. Let's toss it. There's a Lego torso in there. And I still have that weird creature. Again, I didn't know what to do with that thing for the longest time. New junk. Whee! Very exciting. Most of my junk, I think, that you'll see is Lego and buttons, but I swear I have other junk. It's intermixed in there. It's just kind of harder to point out because I don't really know where it comes from sometimes. This is a Tic Tac container that my lovely platonic wife gave me because she knows I love garbage. I mean, the people in your life really know how you are, and they gift you garbage. I saw a Reddit post or like a Reddit story once where it's like, I'm a crafter who uses trash, and then my relatives kept gifting me garbage while giving each other expensive presents, and I eventually felt really left out or something. And I'm like, listen, I kind of get it, but I also really do not. Like, I really don't in some aspects. I'm like, nope. I want trash. Oh, look at me. I actually got my X-Acto knife out for this. I forgot about that. I have a lot of X-Acto knife blades. It is a quality art tool. Anyway, I don't practice safety. I've never been that safe of a person, but I'm always cautious enough to where I don't get like extremely hurt, which is a shocker and a surprise. But you know, your girl is I don't know, spite. I'm made of spite, I think. But basically, I would cut this thing up because I wanted there to be like kind of the sheet-like texture to the wings. And I thought the only way to do that would be to have like this kind of slightly curved plastic. Anyway, I showed you cutting up one, but I just cut up all the others. I really like that bottom piece. It's just cool. Low-key, kind of wish I kept it and made it into like a Tupperware container lid because it really gives that vibe for like a dollhouse. But shh, we don't talk about my mistakes. We talk about how bullshit this looks. This doesn't look like anything. Oh look, I gave you some free time of me gluing buttons down because it's not exactly a complicated process. I just take the button and I find a spot and I do a little dibby of hot glue. A dibby, that's a new word. Sounds like another word that's not as friendly. Anyway, but more hot glue, and more buttons, and more buttons. How do I have so many buttons? I bought like one bag from Goodwill one time, and now I just have more buttons than I know what to do with. And they're also just cute. Like, I'm kind of always convinced by buttons. I don't know. Easily manipulated, I guess. by shiny things and things with pretty colors. I'm even stacking the buttons. Maybe that gives more stability, or maybe I'm just out of ideas. I mean, this is a lot of trash into the project. I don't know. I might be out of ideas. Anyway, it's very fun. I like gluing buttons to shit. You should try it. It's like kind of therapeutic almost. And I recommend it to anyone. Instead of killing people, oh shit, wait, I can't say that. Instead of having tendencies towards the big M, perhaps try a little bit of button gluing. Or a lot. You know, I don't have control over you. Anyway, I set these out prior, and then I'm like, oh wait, should I snap? No, should I snap? Should I not? Oh, boom, I did it. Oh, you got fucking tricked. Anyway, the second wing is on now with that beautiful clamshell that I have no idea where it came from. That's a gibbet that I cut the end off of because I put it on the hip right there, if you can see it next to that green bead. Oh, there, look, we focused on it. Oh my god. Another button with a bit of Lego, another button with a little bead in the center to cover up the buttonholes. More buttons in, that's a pen cap right there at the shoulder. Again, disassemble your pens. They make great material. I cut that button in half on the face. I was kind of impressed with myself for that, honestly. Yeah, we're running out of trash here again. I'm not going to use that little bug guy. I want to keep him. I'm keeping him for a future project, so we didn't use him. But I did cut up that elephant thing finally and used its bits on that button there and down that leg. It was this. I'm like so close to finishing, but also there's so many tiny little details. So we have to go searching for more trash because, again, I'm out. This project actually used up a good amount of trash, which is exactly what I wanted. I mean, like, that was kind of the whole point. In a way. It's not like I have a problem with hoarding or anything, or that, like, my trash bin is so full that when I try to, like, find things in it, it, like, kind of bleeds out into the bin layer below it, which does not belong to me. So I have to go clean it out after. So that's not what I'm saying. It's just I should use up the trash. I don't want to be a hoarder who doesn't use my trash. I use my trash. I'm very good at it. I'm very good at using my trash. Anyway, this project definitely ate up a lot of my trash, which I'm very happy with, and I think this style of what I'm doing here is something I'm going to continue. I think this is a good way for me to make pieces that aren't necessarily super meaningful or having a big purpose, but they are fun to make and they're gonna all turn out slightly different. I think they're all gonna have a kind of mechanical vibe to them because it's hard to make this trash cohesive if it's not mechanical looking. I mean, I'll definitely attempt it at some point, but it is rather difficult to make it look organic. Without sculpting or using materials that aren't, like harvested. And the kind of whole point of this is to be recycling. If I wanted to sculpt, I'd kind of, I have projects for that. I have things for that. If you want to see more projects that aren't just like sketchbooking, please let me know. I really enjoy it. I enjoy both sketchbooking and this kind of trash art. But the trash art is really what speaks to me, and sketchbooking is something that I love, but it's like almost a task in a way. It's not bad. I love it. It's endearing. It's a big part of my life. But there's a time where I'm also just a super tactile 3D person. I like 3D shit, and I love little models, and that's just some of my favorite crap in the world. I was thinking of making some Ghibli-themed things from Castle in the Sky, and I'm very excited to attempt that. I also do custom dolls, like oak dolls, if you've ever watched Delightful, or Enchantarium, or Moonlight Jewel. I like to customize some dolls, and they're quite fun. And I'm not the best at it, but I've made, like, I don't know, 10, 12, quite a few. And, yeah. It's at this point where you can really see the fact that this is just an amalgamation of trash, and I'm very happy with that. More buttons will be thrown at this thing. I'm not entirely sure how I want to keep these, like, sort of videos in the future. Do you prefer when I kind of just show you what materials I use and then transition to when they're on the doll? Or do you prefer when I try to figure out where to put them and then transition into when they're there? Or do you prefer when I actively put them on with the camera on? Because it all kind of alters how I record and the time. I can't leave it recording for the whole process. I spend a very large amount of time just sitting there looking at it and wondering what goes where. So that just takes up too much space, and I definitely can't afford that sort of storage use on my phone, on my like device and shit. I don't have that real estate. But I definitely want to, get the opinion of the masses. So I tried to intermix different styles in here. Do you prefer the show transition to when they're on and show? Do you prefer the active trying to figure out and then once we've done that, transition to when it's on? Or do you prefer if I figure it out off camera and then start to record when I'm putting things on in like a manner where I already know where they are gonna go? In the end, I kind of prefer the last method. I don't know. For me, it's the most satisfying to watch, but I could be completely wrong in that. I don't know. My brain doesn't work in the most typical of ways. So, I'm plagued by hot glue spiders, man. They're all over me. They follow me to my, out of my workspace now. I used to just have hot glue spiders, terrorizing me within my workspace, my hot glue area on the floor. But no, now they follow me. Now they haunt my every step, my every passing move. Also, by the way, this is definitely not the last part of this project. I'm sorry. I hate part 2s and whatever the hell. But I have to say that I'm painting this in a separate video. And that's just gonna be how it is. Thank you. I don't mean anything by it. It's just how it's gonna go. Oh, I glued a little gem in. That's cute. It's gonna get covered and the cool transparency of it will die. Camera angle change. Let's go. We have new trash, some buttons, a rake, and this weird part of a pen that I'm gluing on the face. Super zoomed in. Do you prefer this, or do you prefer when you're out? When you're looking from a bird's eye view, kind of? Hey, if you want to know how my camera is propped up, because I just film on my phone. I'm not a professional in any aspect. My camera's propped up on some fake silver antlers that are used as decorative pieces on side tables. I am not professional at this fucking YouTube thing, and I think it's so goddamn obvious that it hurts. Yeah. I'm generally trying to keep these videos entertaining, but I also have, limited skill in that aspect. So please hold me dear, and, be nice to me. I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm just having fun. I don't really expect much to come of this, channel or anything like that. I think the viewership on my videos is quite low, and that's fine. But I want to put my art out there because it's sort of something I've always wanted to do. I've dreamed of having a YouTube channel since I was, a kid. And, I think there's nothing wrong with trying to chase little hobbies on the side. I am going to be starting some pretty intense schooling in the up-and-coming months, but I think it's always good to have a hobby or something more relaxing you can fall back on without stressing about how it's going to affect your future. So, okay, with that more serious shit done, we're gluing more buttons on because you can never have fucking enough buttons. I could fucking, you know what? I could make my weight in buttons. Oh, look at me try to flick this thing a million times and then just resort to pulling it, bending it over backwards. That sounds really dirty. Tee-hee, ha-ha. Anyone watch good anime recently? I've been watching anime. I watch a lot of anime. Fucking a lot. Favorite anime? Hunter x Hunter. The longest anime I've watched was probably Naruto. I have watched, all of Naruto. Very fun anime to watch, honestly. I have a lot of critiques and a lot of love for it. But the anime I am currently watching is From Me to You. It is like a very typical romance anime. It almost reminds me of Komi Can't Communicate in a way, as in the female main is kind of viewed as unapproachable, though they are for different reasons. Sadako, or Sawako as her real name is unapproachable because she's scary. Anyway, I like it, and it's cute. Even if it falls into some basic tropes, I'm having a good time. Now, as my arm blocks everything I do, please observe the mess of color that you can see before you. I have to primer all this. My primer coats are never that good, so, don't expect shit, actually. Just expect fucking nothing, please. I've listened to myself talk for like 40 minutes. Anyway, glue this little Lego piece diagonally and then realize it's not fucking sticking, so you just have to put more hot glue on it, and, you know, just great. If anyone says my projects will fall apart because they're made of hot glue, you're fucking wrong. This fucking thing was, like, thrown around a bit. I just kind of just flop it on the ground, you know? I'm not tossing this at walls, but hot glue deserves more credit. It's ugly and it's beautiful, and I'm deeply indebted to it. Yeah. Look, that's the rake. And I cut it off. And normally I would like glue this thing on like the clean side where the cut wasn't. But I felt like in this case it almost was cooler to have the like roughened side up. So I did that. I left that. Oh, watch me go, watch me go. I tried to not get hot glue in the rake's teeth. But, you know. Oh, this is another one where I was like, oh, wow, that's not sticking. So we went in with more hot glue and we're like, ha ha ha, let's suffocate you and drown you in hot glue. Because unlike Percy Jackson's pancakes, you can drown. And you will. I'm drowning you right now. Oh, look, it's another piece of Lego. This one has a hinge. Do I keep that hinge mobile? I don't know. I didn't check after, actually. I think I tried to. I think, oh, look at me, glue in a piece of, I think that was from an eyelash container. You know, when you have false eyelashes, there's like the little thing they come on. Anyway, I like cut that in half and I used part of it as like this edge. It's very messy and ugly and I don't really care for it. But you know what? It was trash and it deserved to be used by me. Well, maybe not necessarily by me. Guys, please appreciate your trash. I want to see more trash artists appear. You know, in this time of sweet overconsumption and increasing amounts of plastic use and shit, I think we should really start to see an uprise of trash artists. Because you know what? It's fun and it's freeing. Because your art doesn't have to necessarily look uniform. I think anyone can grab a hot glue gun and shit from their garbage can and then glue it together. Just personal opinion. And if someone comes at me about hot glue not being environmental, go away, go away, go away. Go away! Such a good glue. We love it. We are hot glue supporters here. We're the fan club, essentially. I'm gonna do so little editing on this goddamn video. I was trying to do editing more in the earlier portion, but I don't have the energy. I really don't. I need this thing out. I need it out now. That sounds like I'm having a child. I'm not having a child. I hate children. I don't hate children, sorry. I don't hate kids. I hate the concept of myself having a kid. I don't need a kid. No one needs that. No thank you. Anyway, I took another bit of this bracelet. Oh my god, this bracelet had like one of my favorite pieces. It were these little like almost flowers. They're all over, and I wish I had a million more of them. I wish I had like a set of gears, but I try not to buy shit for this, so I just kind of have to stare at things and pretend they're gears mentally, and, you know, hope and pray. Except I'm an atheist, so praying doesn't work. Anyway, isn't that a fun thing to talk about? No, it's not. We don't need to go into that. I might do a sketchbook video in between this and the painting video. I think I'll prime it off camera and maybe do a sketchbook spread video in between, but that does mean I have to fill 2 pages of my sketchbook, because right now we're on the side that I don't show you people. You YouTube people. So I would have to fill that and then fill another side, which is not a bad thing. I definitely would enjoy that. And I recently finally got my hands on more of the same sketchbook that I use for the BU book, which means we can start the Ashlar allegories and the Trix Tribulum and the Juniper, the June, what's that going to be? The June Spoon? The June Spoon, yep. I'll have to start priming those and painting their covers and telling you about the characters in those videos. I think that's what I'm going to do. I didn't get to do that for BU because, again, I started her sketchbook way before I started this, but I think it's going to be fun. Oh, look, it's a Lego plant that I'm shoving into a very, like, almost perfect hole. It was very disturbing, you know? I wasn't expecting that. But it fit very well, so, you know. Wow. I think that this project took me probably way too long, but it was also very fun. I'm talking about it like it's done. It's not done. But the gluing part, at one point I was like, oh shit, am I gonna have to give up on this? Because I looked at it and I was like, I've only done this much. It feels like I've been working on this forever. But it kind of just goes to show that this process is one of wildly different progress, because I did a lot of this in one sitting. I think I sat down to trash up this unicorn, I'd say 4 or 5 times, and I think I made major progress twice out of those 5 times. The other times I just kind of glued a couple things on and then left. But yeah, it kind of goes to show that it is very random on like the amount of what I can do. So you can see we have a lot more buttons here. This is where my button rule starts to disintegrate because there's too many massive buttons and not enough tiny buttons. So I kind of start not using that as much, but I still use quite a few buttons, especially on the wing areas, which were, like, you know, less built up at this point than the body. Which was, I'm very happy in the order I did that process. I'm glad I kind of built up the body a bit before I went for the wings, because I feel like it gave me a guide almost on how I want to do that. It's, oh god, so many hot glue spiders. Do you see that? Anyway, I glue this green button to the ankle. It has a cool texture, this button, I remember. It had a very fun texture. And then I search around for, like, maybe something cool to put in it, but then I just find another button. That's okay. Buttons have their role and their homes. Like this one, it has a home. Right there. Is that a button? I can't even tell. I think it is. Oh no, that is like a little clip guy. I don't know. He's very cute. I used like 2 or 3 of them in this project, I think. I don't really have like, okay, I love Studston Studio. Studston Studio. Anyway, I love them. That guy, he's great. He does cool trash art. But he has a cool rivet counter that he does sometimes. And I don't have a rivet counter because I don't really do rivets. I don't think I have a piece. Should I do a button counter? I use a lot of buttons in my work. Maybe next project I do a button counter for fun. I say for fun. It's probably going to be fucking torturous. Oh, look, me clipping off the back of a button again? Yep, more likely than you think. This is like a weird rose button. I think it's quite cute. It's a navy blue, so I don't really have a use for it because most of the time when I'm looking at cool buttons that are in black, they can go on the outfits I make for myself. But this one's blue, and I don't need that. So I glued it to another button because this one doesn't have weird buttonholes, which means it doesn't look like a button once I paint it. So we glued it on top of another button to give us dimension and more shapes without buttonholes. So let's go.
Can you see I'm going a little insane? Shit, wait, I'm very insane. I fucking forgot. By the way, I don't know how to explain my posture when I'm sitting like this, but know that it's like I'm fully on my feet, right? And then I'm crouched. And then I just, I'm like a gnome or like a really fucked up duck. My like ass nearly touches the floor. I'm very flexible as a person. I'm very bendy. I don't have bones actually. So I'm just kind of like in a permanent squat with like the most bent frog legs you can imagine. That stripe between the wings of hot blue spider is pissing me off, but I don't know when I get rid of it. Fuck. Oh wow, look at that. It's another bit of black bracelet leather that I glued to that neck. It's really funny because some parts of this are like so full of that like leathery thing, but that completely depends on the trash I was using at the time, which I like. I like this disjointed, fucked up vibe. Because, like, if you look at the side of the secondary unicorn head, there's that really, really dense kind of paneling. Then there's, of course, paneling on those two legs on the one side, and then the back side of the on the other leg. But then there's also these sections of just pure, like, buttons, and then there's sections with a lot of chains around them, but then there's sections with not. There's sections with a lot of, like, stringy bits, or there's the chainmail section and looking thing on the neck. And these are the glamour shots, I believe. I think this was this my glamour shots? They might be. They might not be either. I don't know. Well, yes. So this is the final trash. There is a lot here, and there are definitely spots that are empty. Don't get me wrong. However, I think this is as beautifully full as it's gonna get. And I can't wait to prime this, to paint it, and kind of finish this project with you. Again, this video is more of an experiment. I've exclusively done sketchbooking stuff other than the first unicorn video. So I hope you all like really enjoyed this and my excessively long rambling here. I don't really like putting music in my videos. I try to avoid it. I did it a little bit in the first and in this one, I think. But it's much more fun to do these shitty voiceovers. So I'm Ace, this is my art, and next time we paint! Woo! Bye-bye.